Hi, everybody. It's Connie. It's 2 o'clock. And it is 2 on a Wednesday, and I'm live. And I'm sitting here messing with my camera. As usual, I feel like I'm reconfiguring everything every single time I go live. Anyway, I'm so happy you're here, and I feel like it has been a little while since I have gone live. I know I go live twice a week, but it just feels like, I don't know, I've been missing ya. Okay, so first things first, I have an announcement. The announcement is I posted a new host code for the month of October. Congratulations to the people who were drawn as hostesses. They got rewards. Most people who get rewards get anywhere from $15 to $25. For the most part, I try to keep all the host rewards about the same. And so I start a new host code when the sales get to be about that much. So at any given time on our group page, on the Connie Crafts group page, you can see the host code just by clicking on featured. And it's usually the very first post. I try to keep it the very first post. Okay, so second thing is it is kit month. So 30% off of all of the kits, and they've added a couple new kits that are kind of fun. And remember, I thought it was funny because they announced that kits are at an all-time sales high for their company, and they're just overjoyed. And part of it is because the close to my heart makers who joined, keep buying the kits and making scrapbook pages with them. So this is like a card kit. Remember that kaleidoscope kit? And it is still available. This is the one that I did a video on using to make these awesome pages. And this is my favorite. This one right here. Sorry, I have my camera kind of zoomed in because of I'm making cards today. Looky, isn't that great? This is the rock kit. You might remember that. I did a red and black one also. And anyway, I just wanted to show you that, 30% off kits is a good deal. And, if you're thinking of buying kits to put together for Christmas cards or there's a Christmas ornament one that's really cool. The Halloween one is really fun, but it sold out and they had to reorder it, and they don't expect it back until the week after Halloween. And I was kind of like, that seems kind of a waste. But they keep showing different makers have made it into Christmas theme by sorry, I had to get a drink. I'm coughing. Excuse me. Anyway, so if you want to make the haunted house into a holiday house, like a Christmas house, that's kind of a fun thing. Anyway, I participated in that crop and create, and I have been blitzing your feeds with cards, as you know. And so I grabbed the ones that I received the most comments about, and I thought, well, I'll just show them a little more close up and instead of a still photo. The thing about the honeybee one, the honeybee is by far the one you were most excited about, and I am too. Honeybee is my favorite company of all the companies that participated, and they have a cute little message set coming out. This has Baking Spirit Sprite. It has several little messages. It's real small. And it has all these little dies. Now, let me just explain that the mixer is a die, the bowl is a die. There are 2 dies for the rolling pin. There's 3 dies for the canisters, because there's a canister, a lid, and a handle. There are plates, cups. There's a couple of different cups. There's another cup. And it's just like, wow. And then there's a stencil. Anyway, I just wanted to show you these close up. This one got a lot of attention. It is the cupboard or the hutch, and it die cuts the little openings. So I cut 2 hutches, a dark green and a light green, and layered them there. So there's like a dark green base, and then the light green is like the one that lays on top of it. And that way the doors open and it looks dark in the back. So you could do these any color. You could also cut it off here and make it like a desk, you know. You could do a lot of different things here. And again, all the little pieces, the drawers, the knobs, there's that second little piece for the rolling pin. It has texture. 2 pieces for the whisk. Like I said, whew, it's a lot of work. It has little gingerbread cookies, and I just used my white gel pen on them to decorate them. Aren't they cute? The other cup is in there. It's hard to see, but it's got like a little wavy texture. There are stencils. I haven't filled that yet. I thought about putting my message in there. I can't decide, so I didn't do it. There are stencils that you can use on top of the little tiny pieces. Okay. Wow. So for example, see the little hearts and dots and this little, what is that called? I don't know what that's called. Not a fleur-de-lis, something like that. The little flower. All of these are little stencils that you can decorate. I used a gel pen through a stencil for that part of the bowl. Anyway, this is really cute. This would be really easy to recreate, probably using stuff I already have, even from Stampin' Up. I mean, honestly, that coffee set that I used, the little candy cane, that'd be really cute with little candy canes going all around that. I might play with that a little bit. So anyway, that was one. This is another one that got a lot of discussion. It is Spellbinders. You know, Spellbinders is kind of known for all their little bitty dies and things that you put together. And these scissors, that is an actual brad. These scissors actually open and close. That is just metallic paper, so they don't cut anything. But really cool. And the pencil is like multiple pieces. It's like there's an end, there's a pencil, there's a eraser, there's also like a little band, and I just used an actual pencil to color in the pencil. Anyway, look at the magnifying glass. The big winner on this is this string with the bow, and it's like 4 pieces. So it's got the long piece, 2 loops, 2 hangies, and a center, so 5 pieces. Anyway, lots of little dies, very, very cute. I will probably be keeping this card just because I'm unlikely to do all those little dies again. I don't know, maybe. I don't tend to grab those. I tend to grab things that I can do in a hurry. Actually, this one was faster, which is shocking because it's quite striking, I think. This is a technique I probably just need to show you in a live because it is really, really cool. It's basically just an embossing folder. And you know, I was thinking that Stampin' Up! Has that embossing folder with the leaves. I think I can use this technique on those leaves. I may try it. I may show it Friday. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I just thought that is really something. I use stickles, you guys. Does it look like stickles? I just used my diamond stickles on there, and look how cool and shiny and gorgeous. Gorgeous. Anyway, what a fun class, and I learned a lot of techniques that I can share with you using different products, which makes me happy. Let me put that aside. Okay. And that brings us to today. So I've been getting a lot of requests lately for sympathy cards, and I myself have needed a few sympathy cards, and I was like, these would be perfect for that. So I pulled out a few things. It's gorgeous, but this is like a 10-minute card. What I think is a great idea is for everyone to just take 15 minutes or so and take some white cardstock and just cut a whole bunch of card bases and card panels and have these stacked up somewhere in your craft room where you can just grab them in a hurry when you need to make a card in, like, you know, you have 10 minutes, I gotta go to this birthday party or this wedding, I forgot the card, whatever. This is a perfect card. So this was Gina K's class. Gina K is kind of known for her florals. She does lots of layering, which I think is beautiful. And this is blending with layering of paper, and it's just gorgeous, right? And so this is one I did more on my own, but I kind of want to show you how to do this card so you can do it in an instant, because this would be a great one for any occasion, really. But look how beautiful that would be for wedding, for sympathy, for anything. Okay, so this is our plan. The first thing you need is a stencil. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're already like, ugh, a stencil. Now that is not a 10-minute card. So what I did, I of course have the stencil that came with that kit, but I want to show you don't need a stencil. You can use any of your dies, any shape you want. Get into your fancy shapes. You know, you might have a cool frame or rectangle or, you know, just anything, any shape, and cut it into a piece of cardstock, and there's your stencil right there, right there. You use it once and throw it away. But I did mine on acetate because I wanted to be able to use it over and over again. And I basically just ran that through my die cut machine and cut it out. So I have a paper. It helps to cut acetate if you put a sheet of paper behind it. Even if it's cardstock or a copy paper, something, it just cuts better, okay? It is a little slippery and a little weird to cut through just plain acetate. Sometimes it won't cut through and you have to use your scissors to finish the cut. But if you put a piece of paper behind it, that seems to help. So I don't want you to throw away the center because we're going to use that center and we're going to use this stencil. So I'm going to set these up here for a sec and I'm done with this. Once you've cut this one time, you are done with it. So don't want to lose that either. And then, you know, I was even looking at like some of the stamp sets from Stampin' Up, and so many of them have shaped dies that would work just fine for this. I mean, this would be beautiful on a card front, no problem. So just think about that. And then, you know, I'm just grabbing some panels. So these are just a couple card bases that I have had in my stash. And these are just a couple of panels I have in my stash. And then this is the part where I prepped. I cut this like, I don't know. I think this is 3.5 by 4.5 or something. Let me just check. Yeah, 3.5 by 4.5. This is 3.5 by 4.5, and I cut black just a tiny bit bigger. Okay, but we're gonna use that black in a minute. And this one I just had in my stash. I don't even know what size that is. 5 by 3.5 by 5, and I just cut a piece of black a little bit bigger. So we'll use that one as well. I'm gonna put that aside. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna need are some inks. And I wanted to show you exactly how Gina K showed us to do the sunset. And she used 4 colors. She used a peach color, like a sunset peach color. I used melon, flamingo, a pink, a blue. I used Carolina, but Capri blue would work just fine. And I used limeade, and you could use, like I said, any combination you have that coordinates together somewhat, you're good. Okay, and then you need blending brushes. And you know what? You just need one blending brush, technically. I have one per color family, so I just grabbed it. Now, this green is a great example of one that I have used on about 1,000 colors of green. Anything from evergreen all the way as light as mink or whatever. I mean, I have used it for every green. And when I clean my blending brushes, of course, this one is black, so you're not going to be able to see it. It's always been a black. So let me show you how I clean my brushes using my melon one. So you guys know I have a dirty, disgusting rag sitting on my table all the time. It is, it started like this, okay? I have a new one out to start fresh, but I don't want to start fresh today while I'm doing this nasty stuff. The other thing I have, you can just use water. Actually, if I just brush this off, I could dab it. See, I get a lot of ink off just doing that. And I can dab it in a new color and go. I could use red on this, and then as long as I clean it off in between with a little bit of scrubbing and maybe a little bit of water, I can go. But if you really want that clean, I spray alcohol. This is isopropyl alcohol. I bought the 91% at CVS. And phew, stinky. But you can rub your blending brush on that and you'll be shocked. Sorry, I'm shaking like crazy. Sorry. Try to be less aggressive. Look at that. Do you see that? Look at that. It's almost totally back to its original color. You can just do that in between your colors if you're worried about it. And it dries so fast. Like, this is not wet. Okay? So I just wanted to show you alcohol works great for cleaning. Amazing. All right. So let's get a panel. You know what? I think I'm going to get my sticky mat. I have a couple of different sticky mats. I have that Simon Says Stamp sticky mat. I have the, you know, it's like this one, it's kind of like it's almost like having a mat from the Cricut. And then I have this waffle flower sticky mat, which is my favorite because I can put it down and it's not going anywhere until I remove it. Okay, so you're gonna take your stencil with the opening in it. You can see that opening. And you're gonna kind of center the opening on there. And then what's cool about this mat is I can push my stencil down on the edge and you get it. You can see that it's like sticking to it. So I don't have to use tape. Now, otherwise you're going to be using tape. Okay. Tape it down. You need it in one place. This is not easy to hold in place and do the work you need to do. I am notorious for doing that. As you know, I hold my stencils down while I work, but this one, you'll need to tape it. The other thing that's kind of nice to have is a silicone sheet or something to hold your ink pad still while you blend. Now, the cool thing about this Stampin' Up! Glass mat, I've started looking into glass mats big time because I would like mine to be a little bigger. I want it wider to hold 2 scrapbook pages maybe. Just because on my live, it's nice to have that surface be bigger. But I've started looking at glass mats and I realized this one is a good deal. I have been looking for a while. And so I'm pretty happy with this one. And now that I've been using the glass mat so much, I don't use my all-purpose mat nearly as often. I like the glass. I like that I can clean it with my alcohol and it doesn't damage it. And my all-purpose mat, of course, I still use it. So what's nice about this is it gets on here and it's grippy. It'll keep your inks from moving. And it's got little places where you can park things, like if you cut little pieces or something. Anyway, so I'm going to put that here and see, grip, grip. I keep jiggling my camera and I am so sorry. That's so rude. All right, so I have my colors and we are going to start with Melon at the top, okay? And so I'm just going to put it on my grippy mat. And look, I'm going to use my nice cleaner blending brush. Now I got to re-ink it all up though. One good thing about having a blending brush for every color is if you use it over and over for the same color, then you don't have to re-ink it as much. You know what I mean? Like there's some ink on it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some ink, but I want to tap it off just a little bit. See how I'm tapping it off on there? Just so I don't get a splotch on here, okay? And then I'm just going to start at the top and I'm going to blend down about real soft. Use a super light hand, okay? And I'm going to blend down maybe an inch. And I want it to be darker at the top and just lightly going down. It's going to blend with that pink that we're going to put on next. All right, so there is Melon. Keep the brush because I want to show you another trick. Don't clean your brush yet. We have Flamingo with my pink. And the next thing we're going to do is a real light blend across the center. And you want to overlap with the Melon just a little. I'm just doing circles across the center like that. And see how I'm overlapping? Okay. There's Flamingo. Next, I'm going to do my blue. And I'm going to overlap just very lightly with that pink. And you're gonna get a little bit of purple in there. Okay. And finally, we're going to go with our green. Now, this is the one where I know I used that with evergreen just earlier today. So I just want to make sure it's clean and dry, and I'm not going to get an evergreen base. And looky there. Overlap just a little bit with the blue. Now, if you feel like, you know what, I don't have nearly enough whatever color, like you pick what color you think you're lacking. Let's just say you think you don't have enough blue. You can go back in and darken that or widen it and overlap it more. See that? All right. And I like that purple color in there, just a little shade of purple. So I'm going to put a little more of the red, pink in here. See, I tend to over darken everything. Everything is always way dark when I do it. Okay, so let's lift up our stencil. I do that by kind of bending my mat back a little bit. And everything pops off. And we end up with this really cool oval. So let me set that aside while I clean. And now, you never want to use alcohol on a silicone mat. You only use water. And honestly, I don't even think I got ink on it. But I'm going to wipe it off anyway. You can see red stains it. I'm going to set that aside for a minute. And then this, I'm going to spritz with my alcohol, and I'm going to wipe it front and back and wipe off my glass mat. And it's ready to go for another project. Okay. Now, let's use the other panel with the inner circle of our stencil. I am going to, now this one, it's going to need a little tape or something. Or actually this one I was able to hold, so I'm just going to use like mint tape or something. And I'm just going to lightly put that on there. And I'm going to center it. And that's just going to hold it in place. Now I'm going to take my colors. Here's the melon. And I'm just going to kind of flick the melon up. Then I'm going to use pink. And I'm going to kind of put it in the same place on the edge of the stencil that I did before. And then I'm going to use blue. And then I'm going to use green at the bottom. And all I'm doing is just putting a little bit of a halo. Oh yeah, you can see it on camera better than I can in real life. That's weird. I feel like the my melon brush is just a little bit dry, so I'm going to go ahead and actually load a little ink on that. Flick, 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 just like that. And then when you do your reveal, let's take that off. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So next I'm going to set those aside. It's important to clean your tables and products off in between, or you will get ink everywhere. When I blend, I'm messy, you guys. Okay, so there is that. Now I'm just going to set that aside for a sec, and let's pull these back in. So now let's talk about what we want on here. We want a silhouette, and we want a super black ink. A dye-based ink is crisp. The Close to My Heart black is good. This one is really good. If you have VersaFine, make sure you may have to use a MISTI, because you may have to stamp it more than once in order to get it really solid. I like the VersaFine Clear. So any of these really dark inks, great idea. Now let's talk about what we want in here. So I have options here. We have this one. This one is really pretty with the, we could do the trees at the bottom. Ooh, I like that idea. And I haven't used this set very much, so what a great idea. Let's do that. And I'm just going to use blocks today. I like the idea of using the trees. You could use the floral. This floral would be beautiful. Anything on here, that would be really pretty. But I'm going to use, like, I don't know, greenery or something. I don't know. This is going to be my plan. This is what I'm doing. I didn't even get out blocks. What is wrong with me? Is this big enough? I'm going to use my giant block. I have my giant block out. Why? I don't know. I haven't used it in a while. But see, that'll be really nice on there. So let me go ahead and ink that up. I want a lot of black ink, okay? If you use a MISTI, it's kind of nice because you can ink it like over and over. Like you could ink it and then ink it again and get it even darker, because the dark silhouette is just gorgeous. Okay, and then I think I do I want to put another big tree here? I think I do. Let me put this one back. I don't think I need my most giant block for that one, though. I haven't used these before. Okay. And then I'm just going to put this here. What's really nice is if you go outside of the oval in addition to, you know, inside the oval. It really does look good to do that. Let's see. Is there anything else on here? I was kind of hoping to have, there's like a little moon and stars. I don't really want that. I would rather have a bird or something. So let me see what else I've got. That is called Encircled in Nature. And you mean so much to me. A huge thank you. May this year be incredible and filled with possibilities. Here for you. That's a nice one. But I want to use my other sets that I haven't used much. You can also, instead of using black, you know, you could use, I just threw something on the floor. Good job, Connie. You could also use, you know, other things. Boy, I still don't have any birds out. Why didn't I get out any birds or anything? That's not very smart. let's see. I think it needs like embers. I don't know. All right, I think for this one, I'm going to use this set right here. This is Thoughtful Wishes, and it's got lots of dies. And I think it would look, I kind of like, you know, I like the idea of putting this on there like that. I don't know about sending someone thistles. That's the only thing I have against that. It's pretty. They're pretty. And then, let's see. I'm considering I could put this one on there. I don't know if that's enough of a silhouette. Some of their stickers are so sticky. Let's do the flowers. I like that. All right. I'm tapping this stamp. Some of their stuff is so sticky. I put it on my t-shirt so that it won't stick so hard. I'll show you the Close to My Heart black this time. We'll just use it instead. I haven't inked this for a while. I've been re-inking all of my Close to My Heart inks because I think my house has been really dry. Ooh. Pretty, pretty. Okay. This one has some really nice messages too. Dearest friend, thinking of you fondly. You make life better. Missing you. Those are really good. Okay, let me get the stuff that I just threw on the floor because I'm going to need it. Because it wasn't very smart of me to do it anyway. Okay. Here's what I grabbed. It's called So Sincere. And I like the You're in My Heart and prayers just for you. Hope you're feeling better soon. So thankful for you. Hope your day is a happy one. Be grateful for what you have. Be proud of who you are. Just love spending time with you. Knowing you brings joy to my heart. All of those are really good. So let's decide what we want to use. How about You're in My Heart and prayers? How about a sympathy? And I'm just going to ink up that message. Oh, I got an edge. Good job. Whenever I stamp something and I get edges like that, I cut the edges off. I don't ever want my stamps to be that much work. I don't want to have to like fiddle with something that is too futzy. So when I have to fix something like that, I always have like cardstock around, and I just re-stamp it. Much better without the little edge. And then I cut it out like this. And then I just, you know, put the message on top of it instead, right? It's not very hard to fix. It's just, you know, duh. I hate doing stuff like that. So dumb. All right, let's see. So I want that popped up a little, but I don't want to use foam tape. So I've got a little scrap of paper I'm just gonna put on the back. I've been using up my scraps like this, where I use 2 or 3 layers of cardstock instead of foam. Sweet. I really like that. And then I have the black base that I had. And then I have, you know, the card bases to put it on. Isn't that pretty? Was I out of camera that whole time? I'm sorry. Okay, so the other thing that since I don't have my Embered stamp, I could get it out, or I could just you know, do my own. Sweet, right? The other thing that I really like, I don't like to do a lot of gems and things on a sympathy card, but I do think it looks nice if you use really small gems that are clear. You know, you don't want anything like blingy, like super blingy. But there we go. So there is card number 1, and that was just real simple. Using that stencil, and honest to God, I could make that card in 10 minutes if I had everything. It'd take me longer to grab all my products, but but honestly, this is a real simple basic card. Okay, now let's finish this one. What do we want it to say? I feel like I need to see my messages better. How about, hope your day is a happy one. Hope your day is a happy one. And I'm looking at it to see if I'm going to have any issues with edges, because red rubber, I've noticed some companies just don't cut it close enough. So I do my own. Remember, back in the day, they would come on a sheet and you'd cut them out and put them on foam yourself and everything. If you ink the edges really hard, you can see where you're going to have issues. So I intentionally put ink around the edges, and you can see there's some ink like on that side and at the top. I'm just going to go straight up and down. Ah, see, there it is. And that's what I mean though, is like, so when these stamps that I haven't really used, I should just stamp them on scratch paper first. But anyway, I'm going to make that work. The other trick that I have for that, like if you don't want to do a whole nother thing, is if you have a mono sand eraser, it's Tombow, made by Tombow, and that sand eraser, a lot of artists use it to get ink off of areas. So there's that, and that's a perfect place for a gem, huh? I love it. Okay, so we're gonna put that on a panel. I have one more card that I want to make for you. This one I want to pop up a little bit. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. I have this pile of scraps on my desk. It's just crazy. Like the circles I might be able to use, but all of these are just scraps from die cutting and things like that. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll just use them instead of foam, especially for cards that I'm going to mail, where you really don't want, let me see if I have my other card base here, where you really don't want a lot of dimension anyway, but you do want to mail it. So I'm just going to put this on. It won't show. It doesn't matter really what it looks like. You probably think it's crazy, but helps put it right side up. Make sure it opens the right way. Okay. And see, it gives it just a little tiny bit of dimension. You can see it there. And it looks like I used foam, but you sure can't see what's under it. You would have to take it apart to know that. You would have to take it apart. All right, let's see what I got here. I definitely need a gem where my little hitch is. And then okay, now the other stamp that I have that I think is really cute is a little tiny dragonfly. I just have to get it out and just put like little dragonfly right there and there. I could put a bird up there. And so there are the cards that I made today, and here's the ones that I made in the Gina K class. So you can see like any greenery that's kind of solid-ish is gonna work fine. Anything you have that'll be like a cool silhouette. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so now I have 4 cards like that. Now, let me put this away because I really want to show you, I really want to show you this other card. I'm excited about it. All right, so let's take a panel and let's get out our, this is just the size of a card. This one is A2, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I want to use my circle. So I am going to center that. I'm putting that down. And this time, instead of my sunset looking colors, I'm going to use blues, and I'm going to make like a sky. So I have this. Let me grab my other brushes. Just take a sec. I have blue. All right. Blue. I think I'll just use those two. Okay, so we're gonna start by using Bluebird, which is the brightest of my blues. It doesn't look like a night sky blue. I can't remember what color I used on this last, so I'm gonna wipe it off. See how it kind of gets that extra ink off? Okay, I'm gonna use my blues. I'm gonna start at the bottom and go up, okay? So I'm starting dark at the bottom and I'm just moving up. Tap off excess if you feel like you need to. Start at the bottom. With this night sky, I want it fairly inky, right? So now you can see I have ink all over my stencil. I'm gonna take my rag and I'm gonna wipe it off. Any excess ink will go onto my project, not all over the rest of the place. I have two other blues. The next blue is Sapphire. I'm gonna use the same brush. I'm gonna wipe off that extra bright blue just so I don't get it super contaminated in here. I like how that doesn't make it, you know, like wiggle all over the place. If I didn't have the silicone mat, look, it just doesn't hold still. So, okay, so I'm gonna start soft to start with, okay? I'm gonna go center. I'm gonna go soft. And I'm gonna move upwards. Okay, I definitely can do darker. And into the Bluebird and up to the top. So into the Bluebird, nice and soft. I want to blend. I don't want to cover up all that color that I just put down. But I do want, because I want some of it to show, but I want it to get darker up at the top. Okay. Now, wiping off my brush again so I don't screw it up. I'm going to go ahead and use my darkest blue for Harbor. And let me wipe this off. You can see why my rag is filthy, right? Okay, this is Harbor. How you doing today, Margie? I feel like I have been crafting like a maniac this last week. That Crop and Create really, it's so fun, but wow, it takes a lot. Okay, so you can see the Harbor is making that sky start to look like a night sky. And I'm overlapping the Sapphire and I'm going around the edges. Oh, that's so pretty, right? I think I need to go down just a little farther with that color. I don't want to totally cover up the other colors I put on. I just want it to look darker. Okay. I feel like I want a little tiny bit of black on there. That might be crazy. Let me grab my black. I'm gonna use my distressing tool because it's the only thing I have within reach that has any kind of black ink on it. And I'm just gonna hit the edges. Yeah. Okay, I like it. Good? All right, so now I want that to dry just for a sec. Ooh. Let me grab my white pigment ink. Now, white pigment ink will not dry fast, okay? It is wet, wet, wet. So we're gonna put this on. The stencil is still in place. It's still an oval, and I want to use this falling snow stamp. Now, I've used it several times, but I've never taken it off of its backing. I just leave it on there and use it, and it seems like it works pretty good. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna put White Daisy in here. I know, you know, that Crop and Create, they're having a scrapbooking version. I want to say, I can't remember, it's summer, midsummer, but I'll definitely let you know when I see that, because I am so on board. The cards were amazing, so you know the scrapbooking is going to be incredible. Okay, so I just put White Daisy ink on here. This is pigment ink, and I'm just going to stamp it down and press and lift straight up. Okay, now time to clean. So we don't want pigment ink on everything, for sure. I'm going to just be real careful. Maybe I'll just take my stencil off and let's do this right. Look at that. It's so cool. Ugh. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, I'm gonna set this aside for a sec while I clean this. Here's my alcohol again. That'll get all that ink off. Other side. And I wanna make sure I do my glass. Now, you never wanna use alcohol on anything stamp related. Like, I would never use alcohol on that. Stamp cleaner, yes. Water, yes. This is just water. I'm just gonna spritz it with water and clean it off. This is the coolest background. I've been using it. I have been using it like crazy, and I'm really happy with it. I'm so glad I bought it. It was one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know. Okay. Let's talk a little bit for just a second. This stamp set right here, it's called Hearts Come Home. I found it at Daisy Lane. When I was, going there garage sale shopping, and I was like, oh my God, who would get rid of this with this cute little Santa flying through the air? It is so neat. And then I got home and I realized, well, I have a close to my heart set that's the same way. It has the Santa flying through the air and the Santa Claus. And I know I have a Tim Holtz Simon Says stamp die that is this way too. So I could use it as well. You could use whatever you want, but this one was perfect because it has these little houses too. So I just want to pull these out, and we are going to make this card really cool. Now I want to cut this down just a little bit. I don't want it like the full face. I want to be able to put black outline on it. So let me just cut like, I don't know. I'm going to just go around the edges and cut 1/4 inch off of each side, all 4 sides. And that way at the end, my oval will still be in the middle. So I cut a quarter, a quarter, a quarter, or quarter. You can't just slice a half off of one side because then your oval would be wonky. So here's what we're gonna do. Ooh, I probably should hit this with my heat tool just once or twice here. That pigment ink is a wet ink. Yes, it was okay. It depends on how you look at it, Margie, expense-wise, because okay. I looked up the price of one class. Every single class, there were 18. Every single class came with a stamp, a die, a stencil, or a stamp, a die, and an extra goodie. Some of them came with stamp, die, goodie, and a stencil. I mean, and almost all of them were a minimum of $50 to $60. So if you added up 18 classes, $50 or $60 a piece, I couldn't afford that. So it was $300, which sounds just outrageous. And I talked myself out of it 2 or 3 times, but if you remember, I was mourning the loss of Close to My Heart when I signed up for that. I really was. I was in deep distress when that happened. So I was kind of like, well, it's worth it. I've got to do it. And Steve was like, just do it. And so I did. And I don't know if I would want to pay another $300. That hurt. But the next one is in March, and it's $250 including shipping and everything. It's around $250. And I'm like, I had so much fun. I totally want to do this. And Steve's like, just do it. You know you want to do it. I'm like, I'm still considering it. Right? I know that Stampin' Up! Is going to have an album retreat. And so I'm thinking that'll be really cool. That'll be really fun. All right. I am stamping my little houses. I'm trying to stay within the oval. You know, I probably should just kind of put this down just in case I go outside of my oval, because I don't really want to on this one. There's one little house. Now, don't worry about the bottom. I'll take care of that. It'll look so good. And when you use a stamp with a stencil, it's very hard to get that edge, see? I just don't want to go outside of it, so. And I got that. That's why I have that black marker. It'll be good, don't worry. Okay. Now I can move my stencil off of here, and I'll clean that with alcohol in just a second. And now I have these cool trees that I think are really neat, little silhouette style. And that one I'm going outside of, obviously. And then there's 2 different sizes of little trees in this set. I'm going to do the smaller one too. This one has an edge. So annoying. That one's gonna get a haircut. Okay, and then we want our Santa in the sky. OMG, is that cool? Okay, look at it so far. And then I have a black marker that I am going to use to fill in, you know, this space where it needs to be black. For the cool silhouette effect. And then I'm gonna use my like white gel pen to go over this little hickey that I got over here. You won't be able to see it once everything is all said and done. I usually do a couple layers of that, but beautiful. Look at Santa in the sky. Ah, okay. The other thing that I want to do is make a panel and a message, and we'll be done. So the panel, I have ink all over me. I'm getting it all over. Let's see what I can do here. Make this better. And I'll trim that. I'm running out of space on my table. Sorry, I have to do that off camera. It's so annoying, but it's easier than pulling out that trimmer. Cool. La. Okay, now I have one more stamp set I want to show you, and this one's current. This one's called Christmas Labels, and you know, people are buying it because it makes cool labels, which is great, but I wanted it for the messages. I love the Believe, the Be Merry, Merry Christmas to You. Any of these would look really cool on here. But you know, the one that I'm after is the Believe. Believe in Santa. Okay, and then I got my little block. How many blocks do I have out on my desk right now? Is it crazy? I have lots of little strips on my desk. Like, I have little strips like crazy. One of these is surely the right size. There we go. I save them all and I use them, you know, I use them. All right, so Stamp Up the Believe, and I want to show you a little trick. All right. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it here as straight as possible. I'm not always very straight. And here. Okay. And I could just put it on there, right? I could. Or I can cut a couple of ends like that. And you want them the same size. So I have two little, like, you know, cubes. Put this back in my scrap pile. And what we're going to do is, this is so good. I'm going to use foam tape. And I'm going to put one here and one here. I forgot, I need to cut my ends. I'm gonna cut the little flag end, cut the middle, and then corner to middle, corner to middle. All right, let's try this again now. All right, and we have our little foam piece. Looky, looky. Isn't that cool? Even cooler if you ink it. You sending out Christmas cards today or this year, Margie? I always do, and my problem is I like to make them all different. I don't like to make assembly line Christmas cards. And wow, is that crazy? That's crazy. And I should have started a lot longer ago if I was going to do that. Oh, beauteous. I love this card so much. And I've been on for over an hour. And what the heck am I thinking? I'm showing you a 5-minute card or a 10-minute card, and it's taking me an hour because I'm fiddling around a lot. The other thing that I think would be really cool on this is a few sparkles in the sky or around. I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of these bitty sparkles. I have a feeling I'm going to freak. I love them. And look how they would be so cool in the sky, like a little twinkle. So I could put them all over. But the snowflakes are cool. All right, here's the close-up. Look at that. Look at that. Such a cool thing. Same technique as these. Same technique, just different colors, different stamps. And then this is going around the circle. And that's what I have today. Woohoo! Okay, so obviously I am in card making mode, and I probably will be card making for a little bit because I need to make my Christmas cards, you guys. This is the first time I busted out Christmas stamps to make cards, and I'm starting to freak out just a little bit because, like I said, I like to make them all different. So now I have this one made. I'm good with this one. I hope you love it. Have a great afternoon, and I will see you Friday. Bye-bye.